Today is tomato juice day. So I have a parsley patch in the garden. Hopefully I can see it. There's a little bit of light already, so I think I'll be able to find my parsley patch. I guess I didn't think that it would still be this dark when I got up. Otherwise, I could have brought it in the house yesterday. Here it is. Grab another big handful. It's gonna be a beautiful day. Right, I'm trying to get going here on getting the vegetables into the tomatoes. The good thing about it is everything goes through a juicer, so you only need to coarsely chop the vegetables. Nothing has to be diced, nothing has to be symmetrical or perfect, because everything is going to go through the juicer. So this is kind of all I'm going to do with most of these veggies, is just, get them down to the size where they fit through the juicer, but it's big enough that it's not going to take very long. Tomatoes are already cooking, and I had to run down to the garden and find my parsley, but it's fine. Get some beets in here. Let me show you the juice so far. So like I said, the tomatoes are cooking, but now I need to scramble a little bit to get my veggies in there so I can start timing it. So now I can get all the veggies in there. So this is tomatoes, first of all, tomatoes, and then onions, peppers, beets, and then the parsley. I still need to wash and cut my parsley. Did I say celery? There's celery in here too. So now that I have everything in here, once I get my parsley in here, I can start to time this. And I think I usually cook it for 30 to 45 minutes before I call it ready, and then we can just let it cool slightly, and then it can be run through the juicer. Should get a little bit more light going on in here since it's still so dark outside. All right, I'm gonna wash my parsley and get that in here too. I'm just gonna take a big clump of parsley and cut it into my pot. Okay, so now I'll put my timer on. Maybe I'll get the lid back on. just to make sure it cooks. And then we'll time it for 30 to 45 minutes. It smells wonderful. That's the best thing about canning tomatoes, anything tomatoes, is the smell. All right, we'll do 40 minutes. So this is what it looks like with about 15 minutes left on the timer. Just a nice little boil going there. You can see the vegetables have started to change color a little bit and are softening. So it's going really good. So we have just a couple minutes left for this first pot. Then we're gonna get it put over here in the sink, and then I'm gonna get my juicer. I can finally see the light of day now, but I wanna show you my juicer. So I have it in the sink, and it asks for a couple minutes to cool down before we run it through the juicer, so I figure having it here by the open window should cool it down. Maybe we'll give it 15 or 20 minutes, or by the time I've got everything set up and ready to juice, I'm sure it'll be 15 or 20 minutes. So here's my second batch. This is the last one. I'm just doing these two, but I still need to fit in all of these veggies, so I got to stir this down a little bit before I can add the rest. So I'm trying to stir these veggies down a little bit because I still have some that I want to add. Just gonna take a little bit of time before they start to cook down or sink down. See, the other pot that we did before, the tomatoes were boiling before I put the veggies in. This pot, everything is still cold, but it should still work. It'll just take a little while for me to fit all the veggies in here, but that's the process. So what it actually is, it's called a sauce maker. But this is what we use for our juicer. It can be used for tomatoes, soups, dips, spreads, baby foods. It's kind of a versatile little thing, if you will. We got this at our local running store. So that's the box. Now let me show you the real thing. So it's, you know, quite small. It fits on the countertop nicely. You know, this is kind of a size reference. And we've used it for about 2 years now for doing our juice, and we really like it. So since it is like called a sauce machine or something like that, it is a little bit more of a puree. It is a little bit thicker than some people would prefer their tomato juice, but we actually like it that way. So that's never bothered us. Okay, here's the setup for the juicer. This is what needs to go through the juicer. This is the juicer. I've already started just to try and figure it out. So the juice comes out through here, and the garbage comes out and will go into this. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze. I don't like that this is kind of sitting crooked, but what I'm gonna do when this gets almost full is I'm gonna put it right back here into this big pot. So here's how we're gonna try and do this. have to get a second container out. Just this really small one to catch these drops as I'm emptying this one into my pot. Be a bit of a process. It's going to take a little bit of time, but that's all right. That's actually why we got an early start. So yeah, I'm just going to continue to put this batch through. And the batch back here, I really haven't started timing it yet, but I can see the bubbles starting to form. So yeah, maybe I'll give it another 10 minutes and then I'll start timing that pot. And then after it's through the juicer, it's going in here. And then we actually still need to add some spices and such after it's all been run through the juicer. So it is a bit of a process. So the veggies go in here, they go down there and through the mill. I think occasionally last year we had to stop and clean the mill a little bit. We had to take it apart. Just a couple times throughout the juicing process, we took it apart. So you can see there's some almost paste-like juice coming out. So like I said, our tomato juice is a little bit thicker since this is more of a sauce machine, but we actually prefer it that way. I mean, it's not like terribly thick, but just thick enough the way I like my tomato juice to be a little bit on the thicker side. So this is the whole first pot of juice, all done, run through the juicer. This batch is still cooking, so at this point I'm going to take apart the juicer and clean it before we run that next batch through. So I started taking apart the juicer and I'm in the process of cleaning it. It is quite messy. I'm not gonna lie, tomato juice can be a little bit messy. So we have all of our juice in these 2 big pots, and right now we're gonna bring it back to a boil, and then I'm gonna add my seasonings. And once all the seasonings are done and I've tasted it, once all the seasonings are in, I meant to say, and I've tasted it, then we can start bottling it. So first we're going to add a cup of sugar to each of the batches. Next I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. I'm sure it doesn't really matter what the brand is. I don't buy the same brand all the time. I like to try different kinds. This is Leah and Perkins. This is quite good. So I have 3 tablespoons in the first one. It's pretty thick, and some years I don't add as many beets. I just kind of usually add what I have. The red color indicates that I must have used more beets this year than last year, because last year's was a little bit more orange than red. So I added a sprinkling of celery salt and then 12 teaspoons of regular salt. Starting to really smell good. All right, next I'm gonna do a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of cayenne, and a teaspoon of hot sauce. I got kids waking up, so I better go see. So we'll just stir this in and let it continue to come to a boil. Then I'll start tasting. This is usually all I add. So it should taste the same as it does every year. So I'm gonna do a taste. At first I thought it wasn't salty enough, but I think it is. It's good. It's got a little bit of warm heat, probably from the cayenne and the hot sauce. And it's got a rich aftertaste, probably the Worcestershire sauce that I'm tasting. It's not overly tomatoey. It's just more of a, it's almost more of a blend of vegetables, with tomato being kind of the dominant one. But yeah, a lot of taste, a lot of flavor. I love the hint of parsley. So yeah, I think once this reaches a boil, I can start bottling. I don't think I need to add anything. It's really good. All right, we are gonna fill some jars. I have the first batch already in the canner, but I wanted to show you the process of filling the jars. We're gonna start with a 1/2 teaspoon of citric acid per jar. I have it going in my pressure canning pot, but it is just being processed by water bath. And the reason I use this pot is these jars are taller than your average quarts and pints, so they don't fit into the water bath. Like, they're not fully submerged as they should be in that water bath canner that I have. So my pressure canning pot is a little bit higher. That way they're able to be under the water. So that's why I use my pressure canning pot for my tomato juice. And it works just fine. But it's being processed for 45 minutes. So I needed to really hurry and get the batch going, because this is going to take quite a bit of time. And we still have a full pot of juice behind me on the counter. So this will take most of the afternoon, I'm sure. Just going to show you how I fill a few of these. I've got my lids back here. These lids are a little bit tricky. Kind of tricky to know that when they're on all the way. I don't know this one. Maybe it's right. So I'm leaving about a 1/4 inch. No, it's more of a 1/2 inch headspace. So I'm just going to pile these aside and keep filling. So the first batch is ready. We're going to get it over here on some hot towels. Really beautiful red color this year. Sometimes it's more orange, sometimes it's more red. I don't like it when it's this red. It's just so pretty. Alright, we'll get 6 more jars in the canner. See how they're submerged under the water completely? That's what you want. You want at least 1 inch or 2 of water over your lids to make sure they seal. So after I get all the juice out of the canner, I'm going to leave it right here on these towels for 24 hours. So tomorrow, about at mid-afternoon, I'll be able to check if they're sealed and get them cleaned up. Thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a video. And we will talk to you soon.